my YouTube friends. Today I thought I'd give you an update as to how my current system is working, what I'm using for both work and home, and yeah, so basically it has changed over the past 3 weeks and I'm really loving this system. So the major change is what I'm using digitally. Now, I think I have arrived at the realization that I can't do everything as much as I want to. I can't do everything relying on my paper system. But I can't rely on this either because it just doesn't work for me. So I have worked out a really good combination that I just would like to share with you. So let me first go to the major change, I guess, in my Giramondo, and that is with a bullet journal. So I have adopted this, and I've tried it a couple of times before, or thought, oh, how am I going to do that? And but the way I'm doing this is working for me. So essentially, I work a 6-day week, and sometimes, and especially over the past 6 weeks or so, it has been nightmare hours. So I've been working day and night without a day off. I think I did that for about a month, and sort of had my first day off a couple of weeks ago and literally crashed. But each week seems to be so full, no matter how much I try and cut back, I just can't. And things pile in and I have to deal with them, and that's just the nature of what I do. So, but in the process of that in the midst of all that busyness, you know, things pop into my head, and you know, unless I had, you know, so I had sort of like random notes and they were all over the place, and I didn't really have a good system whereby anything that just popped into my head was logical and easy to access. So that's where the bullet journal came in. So what I did was, now I haven't really been too worried too much about the key. I need a very simple key, and pretty much the only ones I'm using are my asterisk for important. An event is a circle and a task is a square. So I haven't really, and I have used the idea thought. So I have kind of done that and migrated to later. I certainly have done that. So, okay, this is my index page because I really only started it at the beginning of this month. You know, this is still yet to complete, but I found some days, like this day, March the 2nd, there were all these things that I had to list down. So you know, they were things that I just needed to get all out, all the things that I had to do, and then start with a blank slate. And so from then on, it was really good because, you know, there's only 1, 2 things this day, 2 things that day, several things that day, you know. So some days there were more than others, some days there were absolutely none. So another thing that I also found was that until I began highlighting, I found it difficult to kind of just double check the empty boxes to see which ones I still needed to do. Now with the highlighting, I can easily see which ones I still need to kind of, you know, look at. So so I'm up to here, and this is working really well. So anything that is personal, work related, pretty much anything. The majority of these are work related, I have to say, because that was what I was getting really bogged down with. Too many things on my plate to, you know, and plus I was doing things at the last minute. I'm probably still doing things at the last minute, but because of time restraints. But it's easier for me to slot allocate a half a day of just in my office, because I've just got all these things I have to get done. So this coming week, I've certainly sat down. Today's Sunday. It is the end of my work week on a Sunday, so I have Monday off. But what I did this afternoon was I just noted a couple of things that happened this morning that I had to get down, and then I was able to fill in my diary for the coming week. And I know I need a half a day to, I can think of something else that's actually crept in there that isn't in there yet, but I know that I'm pretty much at my limit here. I've got 3 nights out this week, which is usually my limit, and so it's going to be a really interesting week for dinner again, because it's, yeah. And then here I usually just people that I need to see, contact or whatever, go up the top. Preparation work that I need to do in my office sort of goes here. So I've often got to write reports for meetings or things like that. So or contact people to have meetings with. But essentially I do need a lot of time in my office, and I'm going to need a really big half a day this week to do that. So that's my calendar, which essentially, if I've got time, then I can look at this list and think, okay, this is what I have to do. At the moment, because it's only just these 2 pages, well, I'm only up to 3 pages, it's not that onerous for me to look over this to see what has to be done. And so if I've got some time, it's, I can go, okay, I'll tackle that today. And I have found that my efficiency level has picked up a notch, which it needed to. So, but anyway, that is the major change. The other thing that I did last week, I found I wanted a sort of a simpler visual or colour throughout my Giramondo, because it's work as well as, for me. I wanted something that wasn't, I suppose, too fussy, so I can pull it out at a work meeting and the guys don't just sort of raise their eyebrows. Not that I really care, I really don't, but I think for me too, I wanted it to have a little bit of niceness, but I also needed it to be professional. So I kept it to the craft colour and white and black. So, and I'm actually really enjoying it. So love this paper. I have actually done, this is next month's insert, for April, so I'm really looking forward to using that. But I've kept it to craft, white and black. So that's essentially what I did. With the business card holder, I cut up the scraps of this paper so that I could have, I don't need the business card section. I keep my own business cards in the front here, and that's pretty much all I need when I'm going out, because I've got business cards and other things. And so I just wanted a cleaner look. So this is my monthly calendar, which is still something that is essential for me, and so this is yearly for the rest of the year, and I can see what I have on. You can see that this is my day off, and pretty much I had to work this day, so I've only had the last 2 Mondays off, and I think I slept most of those days, I have to say. So not a lot was done, but I'm also finding that I love the Midori paper, and yes, I'm a paper snob, and I really don't care that I am that, and even though I love DIY fish, there are some things that do bug me about it. So I'm actually thinking of getting a Midori monthly booklet and a Midori day per page booklet, because I just love the paper, and I love writing on this paper. It just feels luxurious, and yeah. So that's probably what I'm going to go to. I do love this system though, by having my week at a glance. So, but it's not essential. But anyway, I can just actually print those out in a separate booklet, and have them if I just need to look at my week at a glance that way. So I don't know, I haven't quite decided yet, but I'm pretty sure that I am going to purchase the Midori calendars. And then the last booklet that I have in here is just literally a random note booklet. So all I've done is, so they don't really contain my lists or anything like that. It's just if I'm going to take a note if I need to take notes at a meeting, I'll actually just write them in here. And the way that I've actually discovered with my last notebook, and hence why I've gone to a digital system as well, what I'm finding that complements this perfectly is Evernote. And so just for those of you who aren't familiar with Evernote, I found it a little bit of a learning curve, but now I'm getting the hang of it. I am so loving this. It is so easy to use and easy to access information. So what I've done is I've got a whole bunch of notebooks. So these are just notes, but they're also in notebooks. So let me go and I'll show you. So all my addresses on my business cards. Now what I did, this is one of the things that I loved. You know, I was carting around all these business cards, and for one reason or another, because I wanted the information on them, and I thought, you know, and I get a medical card, and I'm thinking, you know, I've got to keep that in a place, and do I put it in my health planner? Do I put it in my everyday? Once it's written in my monthly diary, you know, it's not necessary, but I still want to keep it just in case there's a discrepancy in time. Just stuff like that. You know, an art shop that I used to go to a lot, which is about an hour away. When I was there the other day, I thought, you know what, I really like this store compared to the Melbourne one, and discovered that you could order online from here. So what I've done is I've literally taken a photograph of all those. So there's Cavalier Art Supplies, and I can just increase that, and I have all the information there. So I don't have to worry about keeping all those business cards. You know, my doctor's appointment and doctor's details I also have there. So, you know, this has just been so good. Oh, the other thing that, you know, sometimes if I come across a site, so this is one, I'm having to buy my daughter a stethoscope. She's a medical student, and the local place, I found it, a friend told me about it, so I wrote it down. I just took a photo of it. It's in here, so when I'm out and about and around Preston, I can just call it, I've got the address. I don't have to worry about whether I have that notebook with me, or, you know, because that notebook's now full, and so it's not in my Giramondo anymore. So things like that. Now, it's been great for work because I can fit so much information in here. It is unbelievable. So anything that I want, I've got my work rosters. Well, they're not for me, but all the people that are rostered on to do things, I know who's rostered on to do things when. Minutes of meetings and things like that, they're all here. So, you know, I don't have to have the physical papers. So say, for instance, this is one though. I was at a meeting the other day, and I took notes in my Giramondo, and you know, so I've been able to put it in here with a heading so that it's searchable. So I can still do my written notes, but at least I've got a digital way of accessing things. You know, so essentially I'm a president of a kindergarten, and you know, quite often I need minutes from, you know, somebody said, "I did, well, you know, wasn't that discussed whenever?" I can actually look up the minutes. I can pretty much say, you know, replacement of sink. I can put that in and it will actually bring up the minutes where we probably talked about that. So, you know, the searchable capability of this, I'm on the Pro, Evernote Pro, but it's just been an interesting bonus. I keep all my lists in here, so again, I don't need the particular notebook that I've put that in. That can stay at home. But I have two places where that information is accessible, both physical and digital. So I guess that's, recipes. Here we go. I think because of this kindergarten, it's been a, that hasn't downloaded yet. Because it's been a big learning curve for me, it's just really handy that, you know, I've got all of the information at my fingertips. So, yeah, so that is my current system that is working so well. I have started using another program called OmniFocus, which is a for project planning. I haven't really found yet where that's going to benefit me, but it certainly does look promising. I just haven't had the time to really invest in learning about it, whereas Evernote's been a pretty quick, easy learning curve. So very happy with that, and very happy with my Giramondo. As always, I don't think I'm ever going to shift away from this. It's just getting happy with paper and, you know, and experimenting with a few of those things, which, yeah, I'm really discovering that just stick to simple for me. Also stick to, you know, paper that I'm really comfortable with writing in, rather than, you know, photocopied or, you know, home paper, because in Australia we can't just buy some really nice quality paper, and I think that's what I'm finding frustrating. When I use a Midori, and I love to write on it because it just feels so nice, and I go to something that, you know, I've printed myself, and while I've spent a lot of money on paper over the years, I'm still not happy with it. It's not as smooth. It's almost like, yeah. But anyway, I think you probably understand what I mean, and I'm rambling now, so I better let you go. Thanks for watching, and if you have any queries, just, yeah, ask me down below.